and Charles, Visitor Bureau update.
And also under Park and Rec, let's talk about called Bus Rodeo.
That's going to be
Canada.
C,
Yeah.
new business, 2, C is in Charles, Bus Rodeo.
Hee-haw.
Any other changes to the agenda?
I just, under roads, Dave, if you could just give us a quick update on Dave Smith and a couple of those other issues that are out there that Nick and I and Sue are getting phone calls on, just so we know. We'll just call it
Just call it project updates.
projects updates. Yeah.
So 2 or 1, road department, 1A is in Adam, project updates.
Well, you got a resolution from Mark Adam for handling 1435 Talmadge.
I have not seen anything. Did you get it?
I think I sent it out to everybody.
I looked at mine this morning. I didn't say anything.
I don't need to add to that.
So this is going to be under zoning. 2E is in Edward, right? And that's going to be, what was that for?
1435 Talmadge and Dorley. It's a resolution if you want Mark to go ahead and take the whole case away from the prosecutor to expedite everything on those 2 demos.
What's the address on Dorley?
I'll get it for you.
Okay.
That's E.
It's going to be E.
Yeah, it is 12.
Okay.
Here it is, 1203 Dorley.
Okay, thanks.
I have the resolution in front of me. John, I'll send this to you so that we can put it in the meeting book once we talk about it. All right, any other additions?
I think we're good.
All right, hearing none, roll call for acceptance of the amended agenda.
All those in approval, Mike,
Yes.
Nick,
Yes,
Sue,
Yes,
motion passed.
I'll entertain a motion to accept purchase orders.
so move.
I'll second.
All those in favor, Mike,
Yes.
Nick,
Yes,
Sue,
Yes,
motion passed.
I may entertain a motion to accept the warrants.
Sue, I think I need you to do that one.
So you want to move on the warrants?
yeah,
I'll second.
All those in favor, Mike,
Yes.
Nick,
Yes.
Sue.
yes.
All right, public comments or questions, please state your name and address before addressing the board. Please limit comments to 5 minutes. The floor is open. Any comments today? No?
I'm leaving early, that's my only comment.
All
It
right.
has nothing to do with you guys, I gotta take off.
Check our Facebook page. Mike or I will do a 10-minute update, tell you what you missed.
Okay.
All right, hearing no public comments, we'll move into safety concerns. Any identified safety concerns?
Just, you said they're coming around with the sweeper soon. Been trying to get out on 18 from Sherman. No. I think, when are they coming around with the sweeper?
Within the next few days. It's one of them, they're doing the other projects first that were done before us and working their way toward us.
Just make sure you tell them Brimfield to send
Hey,
it to
Dave.
Portage County.
Are you gonna contact them prior to them coming? Or gonna be in contact?
They probably just, I already talked to them.
Because they're gonna stop in and want water. I have no water.
No what, well, this is from, Millway themselves, so they probably have.
Well, they
water
usually
truck.
stop in and fill off the well.
Well, that's,
The well
yeah,
shut
but that's,
down.
normally Buckeye.
Okay.
Sweep when we have them do it, this is through Millway's on project.
But you're pretty sure they're gonna hit us this week?
That's what they told me last week, so, on Friday, so.
Will it take a day or two?
It just all depends. I can't put a thing. I don't know if they'll come in and say if they popped in this afternoon, it'd be this afternoon, tomorrow, that kind of stuff.
And you're still saving the 90s, right, the leftover?
That I don't know yet with them. This is a different project than when we do like with Lulai or Buckeye Sweep and stuff.
Well, if they let you keep them, that'd be great.
Not after the report I got yesterday.
Not a what?
No. The soil and water, we went through a thing yesterday, sweeping off the roads and stuff. You have to do certain things with it, so.
All right.
Yeah, so that changes the ballgame a little bit, so. I mean, if they offer, yes, we'll take them, but.
Well, the road does look good.
Yeah, we just gotta get those intersections cleaned up, because I got a couple calls on that also. I told them that the sweeper would be coming.
It looks paved right now, even
It
though it's
does.
chip and seal, it looks paved.
All that pitching and
I know.
But a week later, and it looks like it's paved.
Yeah.
And it was half the price almost.
Oh, it's a lot
More
more
than
than
that,
half
it's a
the
tenth of the
price.
price.
Right.
people just don't understand.
Figured that cost us, we did almost 8 miles of road for less than what we did Sugar Maple allotment.
Well, you gave me the numbers. It was about 24,000 a mile for the chip and seal, and it was like 240,000 for 1 mile of the asphalt process, so tenth of the price.
And you can't tell the difference.
Right. All right, any other safety concerns? Hearing none, we'll move into the business portion of our meeting and turn it over to the police department. Roy, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Nick. Just a couple items for you this morning, informational only. All of our officers recently completed their annual firearms qualifications required by the Ohio Peace Officer Training Academy. We wrapped that up at the Kent firing range within the last couple of weeks, so that is done for 2021. I know I've mentioned this to you before about Officer Matt Kennedy and the recognition he's receiving. I just wanted to let you know the formal luncheon for that is going to be on October 26th at Neomed, and that's going to be the Portage County Mental Health and Recovery Board's conference, and Officer Kennedy is going to be recognized during the lunch period at that time, so I just wanted to make you aware of that. And the only other item I didn't add there is just informational. I had put a post out on our social media page. The old house next to the fire station, we did end up doing some training in there with Portage Summit Metro SWAT, and they did some training exercise in there. There's a couple loud booms as they had some doors in there that were taken off, but we were able to make use of the property, and they're very appreciative of the ability to do that. So I wanted to share that with the board.
We had a peanut gallery set up to watch them too across the street.
Yeah.
So,
I'm happy they were able to use it. I mean, it just helps build that relationship with those divisions.
Yeah, they appreciate it because they don't get the opportunity to get inside an actual residence like that very often. So it was a good opportunity for some good training.
What's the, speaking about that, Mike Ladd, what's the turnaround when we take these properties for demo? Is that something where we could offer over to them again, or is it a pretty quick turnaround from when we enter the property
No,
to tear down?
It's not a quick turnaround, so yeah, there's time. Can absolutely.
So if you can just remember to keep in contact with Roy when we start acquiring some of these properties.
Sure.
then
Absolutely.
that's,
That'd be easy.
might be additional opportunities if they need some training.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. All right, any questions for the police department today?
Did you guys cut into any of the walls by chance?
What's that, Mike?
Did you cut into any of the walls by chance?
I don't know that they did that. I think it was strictly like demo where they were to take a door off of hinges or whatnot. I don't know that they did anything like that.
Yeah, I told Craig, and I was talking with Scott,
The windows.
the project manager, about going up there with an axe and cutting into one to see if it actually was a log cabin.
Oh, okay.
He said to be very careful because chances are it's probably laden with asbestos.
Right.
I'll probably do that today.
All right. So let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's wear a mask.
No, we're just gonna get the walls.
He said it's a sturdy house.
Yeah.
Because I talked to him about saving those poles. And
Okay.
he said they're gonna try the best they can. I said, you gotta try better than that.
Yeah.
But a very, very nice guy.
Not that we got a good team over there.
He's living there.
Yeah.
He is putting a wet bar inside of it. No.
That's for after hours meetings. All right, anything else for police department?
No.
Thank you, Roy. We'll move into
Hey,
fire.
real quick. This is just in reference to campaigning, Roy. I am finding your things all over the ground.
Well, I wonder if the wind or some of those we didn't put anything inside anybody's mailbox. So
Yeah, but you know what
some of them might want to
what
like
I'm doing is I'm putting them on the
the
things.
flag.
If you would ever do this again, get those bags. They are so cheap.
Okay.
And then because they're just a hole and you just slip them on. And I'm
Okay.
picking them up where I can.
Yeah, we kind of manipulated some of them there, but I could see where that might happen if there was a little bit
Very
of wind or
nice-
something.
Nice
came through.
piece. I mean,
So,
they're informative.
Yeah. Thanks
So-
for the heads up.
And
Appreciate
I
it.
found a lot of, you can tell the people that don't vote.
You can see
They're still
flyers from before.
sitting there.
you see John Delzell's from 8 years ago still in their box.
All right, we'll move into fire department now. Craig, the floor is yours, sir.
Okay, nothing under old business, new business. Before I get into number one there, I just want to thank everybody for coming for the groundbreaking. The other night, it was very nice having all the stuff there that we had and the people that showed up. It was nice. So I just want to thank everybody for that. Moving in past that, obviously, we've started the fire station build. The jobs trailer's on site, the superintendent's there, the electrician's been there, the excavator's been there, the mason's been there. So things are moving. We're hoping to see excavator on site tomorrow. Then things will really start. You'll start seeing it from the street. Everything you're seeing right now is internal, mainly electrician. They're taking the old gear room part and transferring all the electric out of that. So for us, it's going to be a pain, but we kind of knew that. I mean, we lost our washer and dryer, we lost our weight room, we lost our gear room, but this is just what we anticipated.
Well,
So
they're gonna put a pole in the middle of your driveway.
what's that?
They're gonna put a pole, you know, if you're looking down at your base from,
Oh, for temporary electric.
Yeah.
Yep.
so is that gonna mess you up or you'll just have to go out the?
No, we knew that area was going to be out of service there. So
And they did try to get the siren to work. But,
Yeah.
but they tried to hit the button, but they don't think it's hooked up.
no, we're going to pull the old siren down and incorporate it into the new
That's
station
pretty
somehow,
sad.
even if it's visual.
Yeah,
But
they're gonna
they
pull
don't
it
try.
down, but I think we should get it working.
I don't see why it
Just
wouldn't
to-
work.
No, just to
Right.
put some electricity and just listen to what
Right.
it sounded like.
He hooked the electric back up to it,
He thinks it's
but
not
then
hooked up
couldn't
at the time.
find the actual switch at the time.
Yeah,
So, because there has to be something you got to push to set it off.
well, we only wanna do it for a second. We don't wanna get 1,000
Yeah, I wanna-
phone calls.
I want to hear it. Put it back in
Is
service.
it pretty loud, Chick?
It probably winds up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you hit it real quick, it
I
shouldn't.
think it was taken out of service, so 15 years ago.
That was before me, and I've been here 16 years. So
So
How long was it there? Any idea?
forever, as far as I know. You know where the old barber shop used to be there? Well, it's where the gun store is now. There used to be a switch from there going over to the fire station.
Right.
Because that was where the calls went in when they had volunteers. So as soon as he got a call, he'd flip the switch, siren come on, and all the firemen would come to the fire station.
Yep.
That's the way that used to work.
so again, we know that we had electric to it. We just don't know where the switch was. Or
Man, you know a lot of history. You need to talk to the Kelso House.
So anyways, if I know everybody keeps calling me and saying, when's it starting? It is starting, and the game plans are there. It's just,
Are they
you'll
gonna
see
put,
some stuff probably
are
next
they
week.
gonna put a fence around or?
Yeah, we're going to try to keep the gazebo area open, but eventually it'll have to be closed. So
Are they close, or number one, are we still doing it every Friday?
Mhm.
Project meetings?
Mhm.
And then are they close on the Gantt chart with the project outline?
I don't know that.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I'm going to guess that's going to take a couple weeks.
Okay. I know they said a couple
Until they
weeks
get-
during our kickoff meetings.
Yeah.
I didn't know if we're close to it yet, because that'll give us a projection of where.
Like I said, I'm not worried about it. We have a contract. We have their deadline. They know what to do.
Right.
And the guys I'm working with are very good so far.
But if you're saying the gazebo's gonna be closed, I mean, Cassie or someone needs to
Open.
know, because they're gonna be doing weddings there. Maybe they're not.
I've already blocked it off.
Yeah.
It's going to be open for a while, but at some point we're going
Right.
to have to close it.
I would just, I'd just block it off because you're gonna get brides calling and wanting to do it there.
I would prefer, I know the trustees want to keep it open, but at some point I would like to close it all off. Because I just don't need residents parking in the construction zone, because they have
Oh,
to
that's
park there.
But
Even though if it's not, the gazebo's not, they got to park somewhere and that's.
But
gonna
we're
be my
leaving the
construction.
gazebo up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. At the end of the project, it'll be open back
Right.
up. But during construction, how often do we want to have?
Right,
People
I would just close it. I agree, close it.
Again, let
Sooner
me
than
say
later.
it for anybody listening, because that is the main question. The gazebo, I can't believe the gazebo's going away. No, it's not. Gazebo's staying. We're
Right.
not touching that.
We just don't want people parking in the construction zone.
Oh, I mean,
To go to the
afterwards,
gazebo.
they think it's gone, and no, it's not.
Once the project's done, it's open back up and the gazebo
Right.
will still be there and functional.
Right. So,
And the Pioneer will stay.
mhm.
If Chick would give back that arm, we'd be okay.
Right.
What?
The
The-
arm
the
to the
arm.
settler.
Craig, you,
You know, the gazebo was changed considerably.
Just the top of it.
Just the top of it, that's all they kept.
Do you have time this week to go through before Friday? Because I have some questions on the stuff I have to get ready for the Friday meetings.
Okay.
Can you,
Yep.
are you around this week?
Yeah, oh yeah, and we will meet Friday at the job trailer.
Okay,
So,
I just
in
have, I
person.
have stuff I gotta get ready for that, and I just have some questions, so.
For fiscal part of it?
Well, there's a list of things that I
Because
have to have ready.
because your part of it's gonna be the Tuesday meeting every month with USDA. You're more than welcome to come to
Is
the
it
Friday
Fridays?
meeting. The Friday meeting is, hey, superintendent meets with me and says, hey, next week, you're gonna have to turn your trucks this way.
I just thought there was something that Frank mentioned that I had, why don't we just, it'll make me feel better if we just go through the list and make sure I know when I'm supposed to be there, when I'm not.
I'm gonna guess your list is gonna be geared toward that Tuesday meeting though.
Yeah, because they said during the pre-construction meeting that the fiscal piece will be once a month instead of weekly. The weekly is more, hey, this is next week's project list. Make sure your firefighters are out of this area, make sure traffic doesn't.
Do we have
go
that
this way.
scheduled yet, or is it out there?
It's, what is it, this first
It
Tuesday?
is,
right?
I'll get it to you.
Yeah, but they've scheduled, it's just a reoccurring every month.
Okay, just give me a buzz though if you could when. this
Fridays
week
for
sometime.
all, anybody who wants to attend, is 11 a.m.s every Friday.
I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything that I'm supposed
Storing up
to
here?
have available and
No,
ready.
in the job trailer.
Okay.
Again, that's for questions and answers. It's really maybe more for you guys. I'm literally meeting with the guy 3 or 4 times a day. So,
Okay.
I mean, I know what's
But
going
by
on.
contract, they have to do that weekly meeting.
It's good.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I know what's going on anytime you want to ask. I'm meeting with him constantly, so.
Okay.
But you will see physical movement very soon on stuff. That's really what's going on with the fire department. We're building.
Okay.
So,
Amen.
going into admin stuff, if I can go ahead and get mine out of the way. Soccer fields have been re-excavated. Seed, fertilizer, excavation, all that's been done in the proper timeline to hopefully get grass popping a little bit before we go into winter. That was the whole goal.
Sure looks good.
Road department had a big part in that, so I wanted to thank them. But also I wanted to throw out there UCE concrete, construction concrete that did that, top of the line. I mean, they were excellent. They went above and beyond. They were supposed to come in and doze it and walk away. They came in and dozed it. They spread. They hardly raked. They went above and beyond. So very nice to work with them.
Yeah,
And
no, I think we gained probably 20 feet, 30 feet on that field on the
easily,
backside. So
easily.
that's going to solve a lot of the issues, which will allow the fields to separate a little more, the soccer fields, create more square footage for the pavilion. And now that will all fall in there. Plus, we had at one point kids that were taking corner kicks were going uphill. Like if you were on the other side of the field, you couldn't see the kid. You could see the top of his head. So we solved that issue.
It looks great.
Another thing with that company, it's nice to find someone that shows up when they say they're going to, but they also do sidewalks. They also do demolition of houses. So just be something to keep in mind. So just wanted to thank them out loud too. And then I guess I can mention this, but it wasn't marked down, but Candidates Night. Candidates Night will be this Thursday, October 21st, 6 p.m. at the middle school.
Yes.
I don't know how many candidates will be there. I don't think anybody's opposing the school board.
No, everything's unopposed, I believe.
And
except
then
for Trustees.
you guys have one, which I'm allowed to say this. I haven't seen the other fellow that's out there, so I don't know if he'll be there or not. Maybe, don't know. But there is a candidates night held regardless.
Yeah, and they will be discussing also any ballot issues. So I think that's what the other pieces. They
That's
invited the judges.
Police levy is in.
Yeah, police levy, the library levy was invited, and there's contested races at the county level for judge. So I believe
Okay.
there'll be judicial candidates there too.
And then Mike, can I throw you out there and say, could you just say real quickly on the candidates night dinner? I'm sorry, the
The election day dinner.
Yes. Where we're at.
What we did, I met with Darlene and Christy and Mary on Tuesday. We are going to try to do pre-sale tickets. I mentioned to you and John. So Rochelle and Cassie, if they get any phone calls, they are going to do to-go meals. There's a lot of seniors that just can't get them.
Right.
And so we're gonna hopefully do that. And I think it's just a $3 charge to get it. I'm donating all the food, so there's absolutely no charge, no cost to the Kelso House. So anything they make will go directly to the Kelso House. It's $12 a person. I think kids are maybe 7. I can't remember. It's going to be the traditional dinner: cream of chicken, yams I added, southern green beans, coleslaw, applesauce, Bloody Marys, and
Beans.
Tomato juice. And and there's going to be a lot of pies. So we just need people to carry food out.
But the time will be,
It's be at 4 o'clock till 7. And if there's still a line, we'd go an extra half hour.
and obviously that's on election night.
Right. And then the other thing, which I'm talking, we can just bring it up. We are going to start, we want to make the Kelso House completely self-sustaining, and Darlene, and they're all doing an amazing job. So we are creating a business level, Mike, and if anyone ever asks, membership, it'll be $250 per year, and just to, we got to get businesses in there to help sustain this stuff. And I'm joking with Chick about the history, but that man knows so much history. It's just, there's such a disconnect with this younger generation. Nobody knows about the history of Brimfield. And if we don't preserve the Kelso House, what are we going to have? That is a true gem, especially with it being right next to the school. So everything we're doing to help them, I think, is just an amazing job. So, thanks for all you guys' help. And Dave, they love you. I told them you're happily married, but they are. You just relieved a burden off of those people. It's just the way you check up on them and stuff. It's great.
Yeah, we're trying.
So,
And then
we'll
so you,
just put it out there. If there's any paver that would love to pave their driveway and parking lot, it would sure make Dave's plowing a lot easier. What a tax write-off at the end of the
It
year.
would be a wonderful tax write-off. And you got to remember now, they're so close to the school that the two work together, and all those students go through the Kelso House.
I know, it's such an educational piece.
Yeah, they take them through the house, the barn, tell them all about the history. They're like second and third grade.
They haven't been able to do it for about a year.
Just to piggyback on that, so the school, I know the first graders, I think second graders, once a year they come to pizza, they go to Kelso House, come to the fire station. So it would be nice to have sidewalks.
That's why we need sidewalks.
Yeah,
Wrap it around
on that
eventually.
day, they go to the fire station too.
Eventually, enough.
The kids
We need
do.
to get those sidewalks.
Well, we're working on it. But
So, if
they,
you're,
they do use it,
if you're ever talking to anybody that's looking for a big tax deduction,
like the concrete company I just mentioned.
I don't care. Just what a donation.
I
Just
like
throwing
to
it
write
out there.
letters like that. Thank you for your donation.
All right.
Here you go.
All right.
Hint, hint.
so for election day dinner though, you want us there, because I know Craig said he's gonna come down and serve. I'm gonna come down and serve.
Yeah, I'm gonna get there about 2. You guys don't need to be there that early. I just want to get
Yeah.
things set up. I'm gonna have all the food. I'm gonna handle the kitchen, and my daughter Holly said she'd help, and I need.
Well, I'm planning on serving.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
I'll be there for that.
They need
4
somebody to collect money.
And I'll do whatever she tells me to do. So.
Yeah.
You'll be there too, right? Okay.
So I wonder, they just need someone to collect money at the door
Oh,
downstairs.
probably Donna Ray.
She can't. She's doing the election day.
Oh, that's right. Okay, well, we'll get somebody.
Yeah, Mary doesn't really want to do it. She'd rather be out talking to everybody.
Okay.
I'll figure
Okay.
it out.
So, okay, well, thank you guys for coming.
All right.
I
Do
have a
they handle the
question.
donation jar too?
Candidates night, I have some questions for the board over there. When is that?
For
Redstown,
Redstown candidate night,
yeah.
that is actually the following Thursday.
Why, are we all gonna go?
I'm going.
Thursday, the 28th.
Questions for the Redstown board.
28th. We're carpooling.
28th
Yeah.
28th at
Bring the
6
cooler.
p.m. on that one. So,
Nice.
At Neomed.
no, you guys aren't going to
I'm
that.
going. Why not?
They have to support you.
All right.
You won't get much out of it.
What time is it, Craig?
6 p.m. on the 28th.
See everybody there.
Thanks, John.
Remind everybody, Nick.
Yes, I'll send out that group text. All right, under admin, we did skip over A, so I'll talk on that. Kent Jed board appointments. So this is I got a call from the Kent Jed board. They were looking at current membership. Under the Jed board, You can only serve 2 terms. Each term is 4 years, so a total of 8 years. Because of that, 2 people have termed out. One of them needs to be appointed by the Brimfield Township Board of Trustees. The second will be appointed by the Kent Jed board members that are currently there. However, they're looking for a recommendation from us. So let's talk about the one that Brimfield gets to appoint. Brimfield gets to select this term for a 1-year term, 4 years, a Brimfield Township business employee. So it has to be in the Kent Jed.
Business employee.
Yes, employee. It could be the employer because they're an employee too. But there is a business employer representative on that board too. So we try to find an employee with inside of that, or an employer, but they have to be in the Kent Jed, and Brimfield gets to select them.
Do you have
So-
any suggestions? 'Cause I-
Jim Conroy.
He's an employer, right?
Mhm.
So he's considered an employee, so that could be a potential.
Right.
Obviously, we want to try to find an employee if we could, but I wouldn't be against, I'm looking for any options right now.
I had contacted Dylan's and I'm sort of not got any reply.
The commitment for this, just so everyone knows, and we need to make this decision by the end of the year. We have a JED board meeting next week, but we can submit our recommendation or our appointment after that because it's a board vote for this one. The commitment is 4 meetings a year. They're usually on a Wednesday at 10 or 11 a.m. and they last about an hour. So that's the commitment to be a board
I think
member.
with John's strong business background, I mean, you might do better coming up with someone.
Oh, coming up with someone.
Right.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't suggest anybody that's
Right.
an elected position because
I
we
have
hold
some
another
people.
position.
In town that I'll get a list together.
So yes, that's what I'm asking for from the
You
board
just
right now.
know it.
Anybody that's
Yeah, I got
interested
some
and wants to
people
be
that I know.
involved.
How about Pastor Wetzel? He's involved in it, and he always comes to our
Huh?
meetings, and he's always appointed.
Nope.
Yeah,
Tax exempt.
He's,
Oh.
yeah.
Nick, can I throw my name in?
We'll get to you in a minute. You're in a different category because you're a township employee that will fall into another category.
I thought this was my category.
No,
sorry.
I know some.
I'm striking out.
I jumped the gun.
I got some that I keep.
So I would say we table this vote for our appointment right now till our next meeting.
Okay.
And then we'll submit it in writing to the Kent Jed board of who we appoint. Because they don't get a determination on that. We just determine it, we send it and say they're on the board for 4 years.
Okay, so you made a motion?
I didn't make a motion, it was just an update. So
Okay.
the next piece, though, we do need to make a recommendation on and to send before the Kent Jed board on the 27th. So the other position that is up is a township or city employee representative. So the board will decide that. The current city employee representative that they have on the board has been there for 8 years, has timed out on that. And that's their director or administrator. So he has timed out,
Dave Ruler?
yeah, Dave Ruler has timed out. So we have to make some suggestions. They initially came to me and said, hey, we'd like to consider either Bridget, which is their finance director in the city of Kent, or Mike Ladd as our economic developer here. And I talked with them, I said, those are both good options. However, my third option and my recommendation to the board is that we would suggest Craig Mullally as the administrative supervisor to be that representative.
Okay, so that's your motion.
So I would like to make the motion for discussion to recommend Craig Mullally, administrative supervisor, as the appointment for the Kent Jed board. For Kent Jed board as the township city employee.
Okay, I'll second that for discussion.
For discussion,
Yeah.
I think both of these men would make a wonderful addition to that board. The knowledge that Craig has, he's all tied up with the fire department now for 2 years. I know we have that, and I know that either one of them would be really great. Mike has the overall head knowledge of everything that's going on in Brimfield. More so than what Craig does.
Well, so Mike would still be at the meetings. He just wouldn't be a voting member. So Mike would still be involved. Lad would still be involved in
Yeah,
the
I'd
meetings.
like-
This is just for the voting
I
members.
really want to see him to keep involved because I think he really protects our interest.
Right. Yeah. So he would still be there having those discussions. Then Craig would be a voting member. I would be a voting member. And then Sabrina would still be a voting member.
Oh, I like that.
Two new.
Oh, that's a good, three Brimfield people, good. What do you guys think?
I guess I could speak on that. I would be highly interested in doing that, so.
And it isn't,
I would
like I
have no
said,
problem with that.
it isn't a guarantee that Craig or Mike Ladd or whoever would get it that we recommend. This is just our recommendation that JED board will vote on this. The entire board gets the vote.
And I go anyway. I voice my opinion. So, and then I let everybody vote. So I give everybody the.
Oh, so your opinion
I'm
gets
still
in
gonna,
there.
I'm still gonna go
So
there.
we
and
have
I'll take
2
it.
out of 5 votes right now, don't we?
It's the way we.
Right now, we have 2
Yeah.
out of 5. This is, yeah.
And the other thing is if I do it that way, then I get termed out in 4 years. If I do it the way I'm doing it now, then I
Did
stand.
you not turn down?
Correct.
Okay, that's a good thought.
Yeah, I think it's great.
And these are going to replace, Tom Weesey will be replaced on the board. He termed out. Yeah, and the ruler timed out.
Okay.
So, well, obviously you got to vote on that, but where does that go then? It's just
So
a
at that point,
recommendation.
yeah, it's just, this is the official board's recommendation from the Board of Trustees that will be presented on the 27th to the current sitting board there. They will vote on that appointment, and then that office would take place on January.
So they could obviously, the city of Kent could have their recommendation also.
Yeah, but they were pretty open. They said, listen, the phone conversation was they were open to any ideas.
Oh,
They were
anybody
open.
can-
Yeah, I think Craig would be a good part of the board.
Yeah, I mean, I like being involved in that anyways, so.
Yeah.
I mean, we all
Well-
work together, so.
Mike has a really good plan, I would call it, in that if he was appointed to the board, he would vote and it would be 8 years. But as it is, he goes anyway and still has influence and impact on what goes on.
Yeah, and
Okay.
that was my reason for not, it wasn't anything against Mike Ladd not suggesting him to the board, but he's already there.
He's already
a
there.
continuing member with updates and project
Okay.
conversation.
We have a
And
good-
I didn't want to run into conflicts where sometimes the JED board may have something to say about a project that he's working on with a developer. It just
Mhm.
clears any of that muddiness up.
And I think we got a good report, a good board. I think with the addition of Rhonda. So Rhonda actually came from Macedonia, was finance director there. She's now finance director for Kent. So, I mean, we have a good rapport. We know each other.
That's good. Okay.
And I think the numbers are up too. I think we're at what, 38% increase from what I've seen. So,
Yeah,
and
the
it
numbers keep
continues.
growing.
Every time we go, it's another 30%.
And it's the only thing in Kent growing right now, so.
And I'm sorry, October would be the vote on that.
No, the vote will be for us on October 27th to make that determination. Official office taking wouldn't be till January.
I understand, but just, we would know something sooner than later.
Yes.
Mhm. Okay.
Any other questions on that?
Nope.
All right, roll call vote on the motion to recommend Craig Mullally as the appointment to the Kent JED Board.
All those in favor, Mike,
Yes.
Nick,
Yes.
Sue,
Yes.
motion passed.
And then I'll still maintain my seat as a voting member for another 6 years.
How long is Sabrina on there for?
She just got appointed to her second term, so she's got another 4 years to go.
Okay, right.
Sweet.
That's good.
All right.
Make sure you get us some names.
All right. Visitor Bureau update. Sue, that's yours.
Thanks, Whitney.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Sue, can I ask one more thing real quick?
Yeah, okay.
I know it's not on here, but Talmadge, where does that sit? Talmadge Jet Board?
We would just need to look at their.
I haven't heard
I'm on there,
anything.
but I haven't heard a peep.
Yeah, I mean, are
They just
we
keep sending
still-
us money.
Okay.
Yeah, but you should
So,
look at the board
the
appointments
Talmadge-
because that wasn't the Kent and Jet agreement that said that we had to do this. They actually found it's in the Ohio Revised Code. It is an 8-year term limit. So,
I'll text Klein right now.
The Talmadge one is meeting once a year.
okay.
That's all they're meeting, and I think that's in December.
And then maybe that's just what they need to meet, but I just would look at the board member appointments on that to make sure that we're within the legal
You're
rights.
the only one
So-
on that board, right?
Sue is the one on the
Yeah,
board now.
Sue's on that.
No, Mike is.
Mike's on it.
Oh, Mike's on it now.
Yeah.
I thought we switched
I
to
thought we
Sue.
switched it to Sue too.
No, remember Sue took over the visitor bureau.
Anyways, beyond that, I haven't heard anything from Talmadge. And I know I went to one meeting with Mike and that's the last I heard. So that's
Working
the
over the
bigger
cash.
dollar one
Yeah.
that is out there. So, okay, sorry. Go ahead, Sue. Sue.
Okay,
Go ahead.
for the Central Portage County Visitors Bureau. It's a county level. It's been in existence for 20-some years, not a new thing. We have 6 hotels and 6% when you stay in those hotels, 6% of your bill comes to Brimfield Township. So then the state requires for a visitors bureau that 50% of whatever is collected, the township keeps, and then the other 50% goes to the visitors bureau to give them money to work with. So what we have, in order for Brimfield Township to recoup some of their 50% of money, we have to come up with ideas that will bring not just our community together, but it will be interested enough that people outside of here will come because they want what they call heads in beds. Because the more people in, the more effective they are as the Visitors Bureau. Right now, they have ordered 20,000 flyers that are very professionally well done, that tells all about the area. When you travel out on the interstate and you see all those little things where you can go see all the thousands of things in that area, that's where that flyer goes. If anybody calls into the Visitors Bureau and they ask about what we have in our area, there's an individual packet that is mailed out to that person. And so what we need to do to get some of that money back is we need to start thinking and help Cassie and help come up with some ideas of activities or something that is really important that will bring people from Akron and Cleveland and all around here, so they'll stay in our hotels. So I'm just asking that you all get busy here and come up with some ideas, maybe something that you know from wherever you've come from that will help us attract and have a real good draw.
So the visitors board will they donate to programs that Cassie
Well,
has?
you know, when we had the big Brimfest, the big parade, there was people that came from all over. I talked to a guy who rode his motorcycle all the way from Georgia, a veteran, who came up just specifically for the hoopty-la. So what we need to do is try to come up with something that more people will come in.
I know, I just can't
And
remember.
remember they paid for the fireworks years ago when we had the
I know, I
Brimfest.
thought they used
That
to
was
help.
because it was bringing all these outside people in and help filling up the hotels. So we have to come up with something.
They
that
used
would
to-
have a
they
good
did used to
outreach.
donate. I forgot all about that. And then the other thing, I mean, which might be worth letting them know is the German Family Society. I mean, they bring in people from all
Oh,
over.
they do.
I mean, that's a big one. And
Okay.
they're, as always, they're struggling.
Well, and I know another one that we might want to think about is Brimfield Athletics, the baseball is doing more tournaments. Actually, they just ran back-to-back tournaments the past 2 weeks at the athletic fields. They had teams from all over. They were running from sun up to sundown, a big tournament out of those fields.
Back when we had the two fields and we redid the one, the Visitors Bureau kicked in the money to do that, put all that money in there.
Yeah.
Well, and I know it's something that Craig and I have talked about, but we'd like to get that backfield at Edson Road under lights. And then that could be a night game down there as part of those tournaments too.
That would be
And that
great.
could bring everybody together. And then soccer said they'd like to do a community night under lights where all the youth teams can come out and play and invite the parents out for games under lights.
What about Craig's soccer field?
Well, putting that under lights could be an option also. So, but
I'm out of money this year.
Yeah.
John will.
No,
shoot
no,
me
but I
for
mean,
that one.
it's that time.
You're on.
But I would really like to see some of that money come back to us. So you guys all think about that. I wanted
I
to
mean, there's so many, and even the Kelso House. if they
call
would
Cassie
eventually get
and
some kind of
give her those ideas.
hours where you could actually, I mean, people love driving around.
Well,
the
Pastor, you could
historic-
have some kind of a conference with all of your networking. You could have a conference there at Victory Baptist. That would bring a lot of people in to stay all night in a hotel. Well, I'll help you with
Bigger
that.
network than you think. The Lord is on your side.
yeah, so I think there's some options there that we can start talking about, but I think we reach out to some of these community groups. I mean, if we start building those relationships like we did with the Athletics Association, and that brings a lot of parents, and I couldn't believe how many cars were packed up around the
Right.
soccer and baseball fields for those two tournaments.
So I'm glad you brought that up because that is a piece we've completely forgotten. And I know I never told you anything about that. But the Visitors Bureau, they have a lot of money.
Well, we plan on bringing official Brimfest back next year. We've already set the date, so there's a potential there too.
Yeah.
It'll be big again.
Out on 76, they have the great big huge billboards.
Mhm.
They're in the process of redoing that and coming up with a new logo and all that. So that should be done here before.
Yeah, those
before too long.
pamphlets, you guys did look great.
I think some of those hotels would be, frankly, would not be at the top of my recommendation list, to be honest with you. I wouldn't feel comfortable referring people to a couple of those hotels, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, you gotta clean up their act.
We've been
Well,
waiting for that for a long time.
Yeah. I think we have to look
A
at
bulldozer
alternative.
would probably be the best way to.
3 good, 3 bad.
Do you have any big bulldozers?
I did.
Okay,
I will.
good.
All right, so we'll look at some options and we'll propose some of those ideas.
All right.
All right, anything else under administration?
No, not for me.
All right, hearing none, we'll move into zoning and economic development. Mike Ladd, the floor is yours, sir.
Thanks, Nick. Zoning Commission met on October the 14th. We concentrated on the GC district along State Route 43, but we also had an applicant, which is Sunny Hill Apartments on Talmadge Road, that wants to change their zoning from an R3 to integrated commercial. Our integrated commercial is our apartment area. They were never zoned that way. It was a court order years ago that allowed for those apartments on Route 18. And they just want to conform and be a non-conforming use. They want to be conforming to their district. So they're looking at changing that to IC. Zoning Commission met. There wasn't much conversation on it other than they turned it over to regional planning for consideration and their thought process. But there is a public hearing coming up on November 11th, 6:30 to discuss it, and then zoning commission to meet afterwards. And we should have some answers from regional planning by the time that gets back.
Mike, I got a quick question. So
Yeah.
if they're trying to go to conforming, they can come before?
So it's not the BZA, it's zoning commission. So they're a non-conforming use in their district right now, which means they're basically
Right.
not allowed.
We put in that people can't come to us now and go into non-conforming.
So that's, yeah,
But
that's a
they're trying to
separate.
conform.
No, so that's a different, yeah, exactly. That's a different use. So uses not covered come before the Board of Zoning Appeals, is a different board. So that is like if you're coming in with a gas station in the town center and it's not listed in there, you can't do that anymore.
You can't even come to us.
No, you can't even,
Yeah,
I can't.
and so-
catch it to the meeting.
To go from non-conforming, if they want to have it rezoned, they have to go to zoning commission, correct? And then
Correct.
zoning commission would vote on it, send it to regional planning. Regional planning would vote on it, then there'd be public hearings, right? We'd have to go
Yes.
through that whole process. So then that property would be public hearings with zoning commission, public hearings with us. So everybody gets a say in changing
In
the zoning
changing the
district.
zoning.
Usually you just don't, you come in with non-conforming. They're trying to actually.
They're trying to actually conform.
Yeah, but the difference
You don't hear
is,
that. You don't hear it.
well, the big
Yeah,
difference is,
usually.
because I know what you're alluding to, is like the sheets process that happened, right?
Right.
So that was, they didn't have to go to regional planning. They didn't have to come before the Board of
Right.
Trustees. They just went to zoning appeals and said, we want to have a non-conforming use variance, basically, right? And so a single board would vote, and that was the decision that was done. This is actually changing the zoning district. So they're petitioning to change the zoning district. A much different process.
To conform. It's
Yeah.
actually the opposite of what
Yeah.
we've been seeing. Yeah.
Usually people don't want to do that. So
Right.
that's
Well,
why.
but
I didn't
it
know how
can
that
be
works.
beneficial to them from an insurance standpoint, from a loan
Of course.
standpoint, because if you're non-conforming,
Yeah.
you might run into loan issues.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's that date and time? November what?
So November 11th at 6:30 is the public hearing, and then 7 o'clock is the meeting to follow.
Here.
Yes,
Okay.
it'll be here. AMS next policy meeting is December 16th. As you can see, that policy committee that Sabrina Bennett put me on is with her. We are getting a lot of federal money. All of 18 is covered. That's 100% covered. That's all transportation bill money from the federal government. So it does help to be on those boards. Portage Soil and Water District met yesterday. Dave and I attended. Dave's got some things coming up that he could discuss under his report. Some interesting things to consider if we do go home rule. That basically Dave and I found out that all pretty much falls on us. All the things that the county is taking on right now, along with all the EPA requirements that the engineer handles now. So Dave, I'll let you with oil separators, things like that, that are going to be required, as well as tanks for washing your vehicles in and all that. I'll let you explain with your report, but it was quite interesting and quite costly. I stressed the concern with the engineer that there's got to be a revenue source. If they're going to make mandates like this, I think there should be money coming our way to help with that instead of putting it on the taxpayers. So we'll see where that goes. They already collect a stormwater fee from everybody here. And I think that our proceeds should come back to Brimfield, and they didn't disagree. So they're going to be looking in ways of trying to fund all the townships on what to do. Suffield's in the same boat as us. So there's a lot of townships that are going to be hurting trying to, cooperate with the EPA on that. Board of Zoning Appeals hearing is tonight, 7 o'clock. We have several things on the agenda. One of them is Walden Point. I've been fielding a lot of emails, calls, things of that nature, as well as regional planning has. There is some concern that the development for the homes was already approved about a year ago. They're looking for a 20-foot building separation similar to Cranberry Creek and the new one, Hickory Oak. We don't seem to have issues with Cranberry Creek. The housing separation is good. I think Fire's been good with it. Ron's been happy with it. Actual new developments at Cranberry Creek really look sharp. I think the new houses in that back part is very appealing. I'd like to see similar builds and keep the architecture the same way.
On the Walden Point, can we just talk on that for 1 second?
Yeah.
Just because I know I received a letter. Mike, you have a letter sitting over at the town hall. Sue probably got hers.
I got mine.
A resident, imploring the leadership to, not go forward with Walden Point. I think it just needs to be made well aware that it's not a Board of Trustees decision. This is solely on the Board of Zoning Appeals. We have no influence over that, nor do we want to, because there's a legal separation of those boards, so we can't interfere.
There's a bunch of people that got into that mix. I won't mention names, that stirred the pot down there quite a bit. And I fielded questions, I think, till 8 o'clock the other night. It was like boom, 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 answer, and then come back. And it's like, okay, so who's fueling us? So, but the point is with Walden Point, it's already approved. So what they're arguing is something that was approved a year ago, but it's a new developer who wants to put the use in his name and get it done right. The developer coming in now is Dino Palmieri. Dino's from Cleveland. He also has Dino Palmieri salons all around the country, basically. Here in Ohio, it's mainly Westlake, Beechwood, I think Moreland Hills. They're high-end salons, but he does develop as well. So
You said, they're gonna be nice homes, right?
Yeah, well, K. Havinian is who they're going to contract with. So K. Havinian is going to offer several models. The Board of Zoning Appeals a touch base on what those homes are going to look like as far as stone and what we don't want some kind of simply anything. We want to make sure that they're high-end homes and keep the value.
Okay.
So the tax increment financing agreement is in draft form. We continue to have meetings with D. Hoff and our attorneys. Mark and I were working on this late last night. We're trying to get it done for this meeting. And we do have the draft resolution done. Schools are in agreement. Township gets 5%. Mark and I are hoping to get the TIF agreement ready for the next trustee meeting. The reason being is it's got to go to the school board on November the 15th. So I'll attend that meeting with the school board. They have to approve it first before it comes in front of you. But our draft resolution is like 99% done. But we can't legally approve it here, so I didn't send it off to everybody until, everything, all the bugs are worked out, goes to the school board, and then it'd be on the agenda for the next meeting.
Well, we get it to the school board in the next within the next week, so that they have time to review it for their board meeting. So it's not on their table last minute.
Yeah, so it's in attorney Greg Daniels. It's in his hands right now. Mark made all his red line to them with the TIF resolution, and he should get back to us by Monday of next week.
Okay.
So Americana Development, DBA Martin Wheel, the agreement was approved at Portage County Commissioners on 10/12/21, which is good news. we'll be sending the final paperwork and keeping that. Heritage of Brimfield Nursing Home is working on the building construction, started framing. Redwood Apartments started framing their structure, so those are going up pretty quick. Hickory Hills continues to be slow. I mean, I did talk to their engineering firm. I talked about the dust complaints. I talked about mud on the road, as well as they have contacted and sent all their letters to Portage Soil and Water. So they're on it. It's just slow. There's one crew at a time working there.
Are we getting response from Soil and Water on our concerns?
We are. They got finally involved on the Congress Lake property. And
Okay.
we just, we were there yesterday, and, they just reiterated what Dave and I have been saying since day one of this whole complaint. We just had to push buttons to get the county to get off their butt.
Okay.
But anything over an acre disturbed goes to Portage Soil and Water. They're the responsibility per the EPA. They hold a license for us. So Dave and I can't make a determination on that. It has to go there.
Okay.
And they're in agreement. So that's good. Sometimes you just got to push it. And also on that property in Congress Lake, while we're on it, since I told them we would help them, which the township did. We sent them a violation letter. We held up that, sent it off to the building department. The building department gave them a temporary occupancy, but not a permanent occupancy. And they won't give them a permanent occupancy until the violation is completed. So I think we have everybody on board.
But that's our teeth in it.
That's it. That's all we could go. That's all we could do. Yeah.
So that ends our action, because really it's a Soil and Water issue that needs to be handled
Correct.
by Portage County Soil
And then
Water.
Soil and Water said that they would take it through the prosecutor's office if needed, and go to court on our behalf. So
Okay.
we should be in good shape there. Redwood Apartment, I did Redwood already. Hamrick Manufacturing is erecting steel. I don't know if anybody's been down there, but it's going pretty good. Wave Wash Car Wash continues to do their structure. The stone looks absolutely amazing there. I think it fits Maple Crest really well. Jiffy Lube has started. They're going slow. They're another one that's a slow process, but they hit some soil conditions. All these is planning a formal submittal. They were supposed to submit everything Friday. I have not yet received it, but I'm looking, once I get all these planned, that's another 40-hour plus plan review on that. So that's going to keep me busy a little bit, as well as the one from Martin Wheel, which is probably longer than a week, maybe potentially 2 weeks of plan review. Cargo Properties is currently working on getting the information on a potential buyer and use. This one is a situation, and I don't know if I sent any of the emails out to everybody, but they are looking at Crano coming in and purchasing up the property, but using it as a construction yard. And I told the Card family, and both Jason Condis and Kathy Card, I said, we can't use that property as a construction yard because it's limited industrial. Now, everybody surrounding them is outdoor storage, from Talmadge Asphalt to Kokosing to Don Warco, and I get that. And I think that it's zoned incorrectly, and I think we need to change it to HI. But I says, you could petition the zoning commission, make it the correct zoning, and then bring them in for a contract year. But as it sits right now, we can't do that. It's not allowed in the LI. So they're arguing, and they're getting their attorneys involved, saying it was a construction yard that should be a non-conforming use. And I said, well, if it's gone for 2 years, then it's not a non-conforming use anymore. So there's a lot of back and forth there. I really don't want to see a contractor yard there. It brings no money to us. And then they use it as haul roads. It just really isn't a good fit for back there, is what I think. But you'll see some information going back and forth on that. Cranberry Creek is in the last phase, and I just recently gave 18 homes plus one more yesterday, so 19 homes in that phase. So that's going to go quick, and they should build out this year. Walden Point, next point, is on the BZA, which we just discussed. Valvoline at Maple Crest is on the BZA for this month. They want to go right next to Arby's. We have 75 violations out on our zoning enforcement spreadsheet. Most are being completed. Brimfield Science GDI was out on Monday, and what will happen is excavation is actually going to start Thursday because they called oops. They had to wait for all the markings to come in by oops, and then they're going to, Jared's going to start digging on Thursday. Now, Jared had called me and asked if I could discuss with the trustees that he wanted the sign next to the high school. The backside of it, as you're leaving Brimfield, instead of saying, thank you for visiting Brimfield Township, he wanted entering Suffield on the back of the sign. I says, well, there's a monetary thing that goes on there. Number one. Number two is you're on the opposite side of the road. And then I says that my third concern is what about Talmadge and Kent? And it's not, I know, I understand Rootstown as well, but we don't share anything. He says, well, we share the schools with Suffield. And I get that. But we also share revenues with the Jeds in Kent and Talmadge. So if they want it, you know, so we're opening up this can of worms. I personally feel we should just keep it, you know, thank you for visiting Brimfield Township and leave it as that, because you get into this monetary issue of how much do they pay, you know?
Well, and I don't want to delay the project. I mean, this project's already taken too long as it is. Those monuments should have been up. If we want to change signage, now we got to go back to the sign designer. It's going to delay the project even longer. Let's just.
I mean, they're welcome to put up their own sign.
Right.
Yeah.
It's nothing, and there's nothing against Suffield, right? I don't want them to think it's nothing against them. It's just this project, we're entering wintertime. We need to get concrete laid. We need to get bricks laid.
Right.
We got to get it done before winter.
Right. And I'd like to see it done in the next couple of weeks. It would be good.
So how close are they with oops getting that marked?
They should have marked it already. They
Okay,
called
so-
and had it out for Monday. They were scheduled and they're
So is he
scheduled
starting
today.
work then? Because originally he was going to try to
Thursday,
start on
because
Monday.
they're supposed to have everything done. Dave, was it 48 hours when you called?
So if they called it 1 o'clock Monday, Wednesday at 1 o'clock.
Should be today. It
So we
be
should
marked.
see some movement by the end of the week, hopefully. Beginning of next
Yeah,
week.
and I don't foresee any issues. I mean, I looked at the plans over at the nursing home. I don't see anything in the way. That's why we put it in that particular spot, so we wouldn't hit anything, but you never know.
Any luck on the other two?
Yeah, well, we gave up on the Hyatts. I talked to the Hyatts. They weren't willing to sign, and, you know, and I didn't want to go to court and just take the land. So exactly where the sign is.
Where are they?
So they were next to Rootstown. They were one property down. We're going to keep the sign in the exact spot. And Mike Wolin resent out letters there and another property on 18. So we're trying to wrap that up still. It's just getting people to sign off on the easements without taking them to court. So
And then we want to avoid that. We don't want to do an eminent domain.
we're just going to the next property, and where the sign is now, I think we're going to end up with down on 18. We wanted to move it a little bit closer to the line, but the people don't mind it now. I don't think they're going to mind it later. So we'll just keep it where it is.
And did we find the one on Talmadge 18?
We did find one as long as people respond. So Mike sent it out. We sent certified letters out so that they're notified, and then they can call us with any questions, me, Mike, or Mark, or, you know, whoever they want to talk to about it. It shouldn't be a big issue. We're not taking any more area than we did before. So.
Yeah.
Abandoned home demolition, the search warrants is scheduled. Actually, the pursuant to the search warrants is scheduled for October 25th. So they will start demoing on that day. And then we have a resolution there for 1435 and 1203 Dora Lee homes from Marcadetti. If you want, the prosecutor's taking a long time. I understand, and it's going to be a lengthy process. We can still go through the prosecutor's office. It's going to be a lot of time. I did put calls in last week to Brett to see where I have not received a return phone call yet on that.
It's terrible that they cannot return calls.
And then Mark jumped on. He says, "We'll handle it." But the only thing is because it's their game. It's the prosecutor's game. And Mark had talked to the prosecutor and says, "We'll take it over for you." And they're like, "Oh, yes, whatever you want to do." So it's up to you guys. If you want Mark to pursue, it's going to go a lot faster.
So I'm going to make a motion for this, and then let's discuss it. And then we can decide from there to table or accept or reject. So I'm going to make a motion authorizing the filing of petitions to vacate on behalf of Brimfield Township, Ohio, and its Board of Trustees in order to proceed with the demolition of structures on certain real estate property. Whereas Brimfield Township has previously undertaken the process, including the sending of all request notices as set forth by Ohio Revised Code 505.86 for the removal, repair, and securance and insecure and/or unsafe buildings or structures. And whereas despite completion of said process, the township has been unable to confirm and believes based upon available information that the buildings and structures at 1435 Talmadge Road, Brimfield Township, Ohio, and 1203 Dora Lee Drive, Mogador, Ohio, have not been vacated. And whereas the township desires to ensure the buildings and structures on aforementioned properties are vacated so that the demolition of the same may proceed, and therefore wishes to authorize the filing of petitions to accomplish the same through the Portage County Court of Common Pleas. So that's my motion. I need a second for
I
discussion.
will second it.
So this motion allows Demert and Associates to act instead of the prosecutor's office. Here's my only concern with that. I want this process to go faster, but we're going to incur the legal fees now that we're not paying right now. The prosecutor is our attorney by law. We don't have to pay for it. If we go with the Demert and Associates process, now we're starting to rack up more bills towards this.
But do we want to get anything done?
Right.
And that's-
Well, but and unfortunately, the county, right, doesn't represent us properly, and therefore we have to pay for it, and they still get their tax dollars, and our citizens are in this board end up losing out on it financially. That's my concern.
What is with Brett? I mean, is he overwhelmed with work, or is this more of a job than he can handle?
I think he's overwhelmed. I mean, I don't know, I can't speak for him, but I mean, Nick and I met and we know it's a lengthy process. He outlined, how they have to go and the timelines with it. And so a lot of it is just waiting for court dates. From my understanding, he's filed a lot of paperwork, but we never receive the court dates. And if they don't receive a court date within 3 to 6 months on some of these, it kicks it all out and we have to start the process all over again.
So the courts are backlogged, but you got to remember too, and I'll defend Brett on this a little bit. He is the representative for all the townships. There's one attorney for every township in Portage County.
It's crazy.
And yeah, we push a lot of work his way, but there's other townships that have some big legal issues happening in their locations too. So
If someone lived across the lake from Vic, I wish they could take their boat over and talk to him.
John?
yes.
I don't know, we gotta get something done, it's ridiculous.
And I'm not,
I mean, I'd rather spend the money to get it done. At least everyone knows 1435 it's terrible.
right. And I don't disagree, but I wonder if we move forward with this, can we start to explore with Mark any retribution against the county to recap some of those funds lost for the inability of them to do their job within a reasonable time frame?
Do we try with just one building? And try with 1435?
I mean, I think the process is the same, so he's just duplicating documents, changing addresses. I mean, I'm sure there's a little more to it than that, right?
Well, I agree with what you're saying, but I think we should go ahead with these two and see.
Do
I
you
think
have
this
any
is-
idea?
Yeah,
Do you have
Usually-
any idea what the cost should be to have outside legal counsel?
We pay an hourly rate. It depends on how often does he need to go to the courts, how long does research take? I mean, there's no good answer to that one, unfortunately. It's just-
And
it's an hourly rate.
These aren't typical demos. Like our typical demos we're taking down. Usually they're vacant homes, they're abandoned homes. And these particular circumstances are very unique. One guy wants to run a, landscape business out of his house and, he said he would comply with everything. He's come to you guys and said he would comply, but he does nothing and he's just being a,
Okay, I see where you're going.
yeah.
Okay, well, I think we just.
Nick, I need that.
Yeah,
We gotta
it's sent
do
to
a
you.
roll call. Is there any more discussion?
Can you send it to Kirsten as well?
Yep.
Okay, all those in favor, Mike,
Yes.
Nick,
Yes.
Sue,
Yes,
motion passed.
So new businesses, I always talk about construction, but there's also new businesses that we want to welcome here that obtained zoning certificates. Marathon on State Route 43 redid theirs and we just granted occupancy for that. Static Line, which is on card. Spartan Steel Works, which is on card. Beltone, which is in the Cascades. And Blondie and Company expansion for their barber shop. That's right where the License Bureau used to be. They just expanded into that and created a barber shop. And then our permit fees are up to, this was as of 10/14, so I didn't update it since then, but it's at $221,281.70. And that concludes my report.
Any questions for
I
zoning?
just have one quick one. Okay, as we're getting all these new subdivisions and stuff, there was that piece where they had to do green land, park space?
They still do.
I mean, are you're trying to make sure stuff goes to Park and Rec?
Yeah,
And Little
so
Parkland.
this one tonight is gonna be kind of unique, and we're gonna discuss that with the parks because it backs up to Mesner Park. And I did talk to Cassie about that, about potential parking areas and what we can do as it borders up to the back piece of her property. Actually, we're gonna have a stub road going out towards the park. The only problem is right where that is, Mesner Park has a 2-to-1 slope going down. So other than that, we would have put like an access road all the way to Klein. But we're trying to figure out something for right where that stub road ends and, something else we could do with Cassie.
So if we're looking at Messner Acres from the road, it's to the left?
Yeah, so you're coming into Walden Point now to be up to the left to get to Klein.
Okay.
All right. Other questions for zoning? All right, thank you. We'll move into road department. Dave, the floor is yours, sir.
All right, I got a couple updates on the old business. Dave Smith's property, we're working on getting to that. Right now I had a couple things come up that I need to button up asphalt before the season's over with asphalt. So his is on the agenda to get moved ahead. So, and the same with the house on, what is it? I keep posting. The one with the catch basin and stuff.
Okay.
That's all that stuff's put on hold right now because I have a couple issues with some spots in the road. So
Do you think we'll get the catch basin piece put in
we're
this
gonna,
year?
that stuff's all gonna get put in, but I want to complete this road stuff.
That's fine. And then how about the Tinland property? That's that.
That I still got to get the county to come out. Everybody's been cross-hairing and running different directions.
So that one will probably be held off till next year, I would say.
Probably.
Okay.
Even if they give me something to do, it'll probably be held till next year.
Okay.
So,
But we'll be able to get the Smith property and the other catch basin done.
yes.
Okay.
That's it's actually, if you go in my shopping and look at my list, they're like number 5 and 6. But these other things got to get done because
Because
if I don't have asphalt, then we're kind of messed up.
Right.
Well, one of the issues is in my reports.
Okay.
But does anybody else have anything else on the old business? Okay. Going into new business then. I need to get the trustees' approval for the sugar maple change order for $5,867.64. It was part of the process of where we found the road was so bad over there that it took more material, more asphalt, more everything, more equipment and stuff to take care of it. So the project was bidded out at $204,667.75. With the change order, it comes in at $210,535.39. And that's the completion of it for now. The thing is, even at that price, it's still cheaper than the next bidder on the job. I went through all the old stuff in that too. But it was something that needed to be done to get the road done the right way. I mean, we weren't gonna just patch it and watch it fall apart a year later, so.
Okay, well, I'll make that motion. I'll change order at amount of $5,867.64.
I will second that for discussion. Any questions on that? Okay, roll call.
All those in favor, Mike?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Now, on a side note, I'd like to thank Cardinal and OmniPro. They both did a great job on getting that road fixed up the right way. I mean, yes, we do have a few spots where I have to take care of probably in the spring, but the road is in really good shape compared to what it was.
Okay.
The next thing on my agenda, I would like the board to approve Mike Kostensky as the CEO for Cascade Resurfacing Project, PWC Round 36 for next year.
I would like to make that motion.
I'll second that for discussion. Any questions on this? All right, roll call.
All those in favor, Mike?
Yes. Yes.
You want to abstain?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'll do it.
Okay. Yes, Nick?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed.
All righty, thanks. That way I get some more of this paperwork out of here. Okay, just on my report, I just want to let you know we got all the foundation support at the cemetery for the fall foundation pours. Tim Fox, he started last week, which is helping out a lot. We went through and we jetted out a bunch of them culverts that I was talking about beforehand. We had them 3-4 locations that we needed to jet. Well, we found some issues there too that we got to get corrected right away. So that takes care of a lot of people's water through them areas, and we got to get them there. We found a couple spots that are broke. The jets couldn't make it through. They went both directions and hit the same spots and a couple of locations.
So what roads did you do, or what areas?
Well, we did Dorley, Meadowview, and we did one at on Grace. So the Grace one, actually, the gentleman's, it's backed up so much now, something's having trouble pumping out, but it does affect everybody down from Irish all the way down to Grace. So we got to get that piece fixed.
So that's where the broken pipe was?
Yes.
Okay.
On that one and the one on Meadowview too, there's a broken pipe.
So you're gonna bring somebody in to do that, or are you guys gonna do that?
No, we're gonna take care of that ourselves. So it should be just a quick dig, you know what I mean? We had Island Drain come in and jet it from both directions. The pipes were great getting to them points, and then they found them. And with the jet stopping at both spots and they can get through, you just mark it and dig it and see what we can find.
Okay.
So
Great.
that's it.
Dave, how many foundations did you pour in the cemetery?
The cemetery this time around was only 12.
12? Okay,
So, I mean, in the spring we did, I think it was 17 or 18.
okay.
Melway, I discussed it with them last week. They said they were going to try to be out between sometime this week to do the sweeping and painting of all of our chip and seal roads. So, I mean, some of the roads, if you drive by, you'll see that they already put some markings out where they know where the center lines and stuff that, but they are supposed to sweep it all off and clean it up before they paint. So,
Not getting directions.
kind of turned that thing for a whiz in my face. JD Striping, they started painting the roadway striping project that we had. They have all the middle and edge line striping done. All they have left now is the stop blocks, arrows, the miscellaneous stuff. So I went out again and looked at the property Mike brought up, 2908 Congress Lake Road. I had Mike Collins from the county come out with me. We discussed some stuff with the neighbors about that process that's going on there, the plans. Again, like Mike said, everything's been kicked back to soil and water again. So just to let everybody know, if soil and water comes back with a recommendation and a certified letter telling me I need to put a ditch in, I got to put a ditch in. So that's just, I discussed that with the homeowners there while I was there. So it could be pushed out, kind of out of my hands, so. We're doing some culvert replacements right now. As we're sitting here, Howe Road's closed down right by 43. We had 2 issues with culverts there that are starting to settle. So the pipes were rotted from the traffic. So they started getting pus holes in the middle of the road where it started collapsing down. So we're getting them replaced. It'll be, one of them's going to be pretty quick. The other one's going to take a little bit of time because it's tied into catch basins and stuff. So the road may be closed today and tomorrow. So we'll try to get it in and out as quick as we can. We have a few issues with some other roadways where we have settlements and sinking. So where we want to fix them up with asphalt before winter gets here, we're going to have probably a mess by spring. To go over stuff what Mike was talking about at the meeting yesterday with soil and water and the health department and all that meeting we went to. There's a lot of new things coming out, and it's going to be very costly. So we're all just going to try to stay in compliance the best we can with them, like doing the reports they're asking for, water samples here and there from the road garage. It's not that I got to do it all over the township, but some of the issues that will arise is some of the things they're coming up with, like curb sweeping and stuff. It's coming up to the fact where I ain't even allowed to have the material at my shop. We'll have to have it hauled to a special dumping site per EPA, stuff like that. So we go sweep the roads off, which I asked Larry Jenkins yesterday how many times a year I have to sweep the roads on the ones with the curb and gutters and all that, and catch basin cleaning and that kind of stuff. So he's going to get back with me on that, but it could, there's 3 dump sites. We'd have to haul the stuff too. It ain't like we just, like the old days, dump it in our driveway, use it as nice material to fill like parking lots in the park and stuff like that. So it may be cost involved to get rid of it, plus sweep it and get rid of it, so.
Is this things that we should have been complying with in the past, or are these just new EPA rules and updates that are coming?
They change all the time by talking, like going through the county building yesterday with them. There's a lot of stuff that they thought they were in compliance with, but they found out, the rules changed a little bit. So it tweaked here, tweaked there. So there's things that we're going to have to change as we go along. I mean, like wash bays, we're probably going to have to put a tank in per se in the ground. The EPA hasn't got back to us all yet from the meeting I had with them at the shop. We may have to put a storage tank in the ground. It gets pumped out by a septic company for me to wash my trucks. So as of right now, I've halted all washing of trucks because it goes not where the EPA wants it to go. So we may have to come up and use the place up in the center of town to wash our trucks, stuff like that. I mean, we can spray them off with water, but as soon as we put soap to them, I'm not supposed to do that anymore. And it used to be you could wash your trucks in the grass. You can't do that no more because it's still the same concept, they said. So it's something everybody's tweaking together right now. But the main part of the whole thing is I have to do some reports.
Some of those tanks they suggested that weren't part of the EPA, the 500-gallon tanks won't work.
Right, not for us.
No.
Like if you had a 2-truck shop, maybe 3-truck with a pickup or something, you could get by with it. But with us, with the amount of trucks and equipment we're getting manning now right now, it's going to take quite a bit more. So that's a little bit. It's a work in progress right now. So it's just one of them. They're waiting until the EPA comes back with some suggestions for everybody and everything like that. So just wanted to give you a little heads up. It may be coming. So I just got to do a little more paperwork now. That's all.
Dave,
Yes.
Aqua Water has been on Elmhurst on the Horseshoe,
Yes.
putting in all new lines. And this week they've started doing the grass and reseeding and all that.
Mhm.
And I would like to have you go down there and take a look and see what their work has done and how it affects the road coming in on our spot, on our
Okay.
property.
Yep. No, I was going to get down there. I got to go meet a gentleman from Aqua in the next couple of days too. So
Okay.
on another part of the allotment. So
Sorry. That's okay.
other than that concludes my report. Anybody got any questions?
Okay, thanks.
Well, I do. I don't know if it's for you or Cassie or both of you. We approved the walking trail, the paved walking trail. What's the status of that? Because I know they were supposed to do it while they were doing some other projects around here.
Yeah, I emailed them. I hadn't heard back. I can contact them again.
Okay, because I know we're just getting to the point that we might not be able to do it
Yeah.
this year. It gets to a certain temperature.
Because I know the one time he was talking about coming and do it, the ground was too wet. It would have destroyed more than would have helped out.
Because we're going to be closing those plants and
Well, I'm saying that's why I'm kind of pushing a lot of my projects toward the ones that got to get asphalted. Because normally by middle of November, plants start closing.
Right, and that's why I was just curious where we were, because we were down there Wednesday last week, and I didn't see it in yet. So I mean, I'd like to see that try to get done if it can. I just don't know. It's too wet now.
they're just blame it on us. Push them. Please.
All right, anything else for road? Okay, not, we'll move into Parks and Rec.
Okay, under old business, past programs, the Fall Harvest Festival was this past Saturday. I would estimate we had somewhere between 400 and 500 people in attendance. Most of those were for the trunk or treat. We got very positive feedback, as we already discussed. Lots of people were happy that they were able to trick or treat with their children because they live on roads where that's not usually possible. The movie in the park went well. However, it was cold, so we only had maybe 40 people total for that. It is what it is with the weather. But the setup for the movie was really great and something that I'd like to do in the future. My suggestions for next year would be more participants for trunk or treat, possibly like an arts and craft type fair. That was something I wanted to do this year, but just didn't happen. And then food trucks. Traditionally, we serve hot dogs and apple cider. With the attendance that we had the year before, how many hot dogs did we get, Craig? and those were gone in an hour. So I don't know that it would be feasible to do that anymore, so.
Kathy?
Yeah.
I received a call from a resident that attended, and they were disappointed that the bonfire was put out too soon.
Okay.
In their opinion. So I just wanted to relay that onto you. Maybe next year you could maybe even start it earlier if you're gonna put it out that soon. Or,
There was a reason for that. They said they should have probably never started it that night because of the wind. So they got to a point they felt like they should put it out.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, the wind started picking up pretty
Yeah.
good, and it started pushing toward the building.
oh, they
and
didn't
stuff.
tell me that. They
yes,
just said
so there was
they-
a reason for that.
Yeah, they put the bonfire out too soon, so.
Dave might have lost his winter storage building if they let it go too long.
Well, I could have got some new motors.
Yeah. You and I were
If you
talking.
can get 'em.
I was standing.
So if you talk to them, yeah, we would have never done that. But
Yeah, you and I were talking, got a big
Borderline
cloud of
dangerous.
smoke in our face.
Yeah, the wind kept gusting on and off, and I mean, I had my truck parked north of where the bonfire was, and if you stood there, you get a little ambers every now and then, and a big cloud of smoke. So yeah, it was getting a little bit going pretty good. So.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, even though it didn't rain, the weather was still, it was hot, it was cold, it was windy, it was interesting, but. Land donation update on the property that was on Selnick that was donated to us. Rochelle has contacted an attorney for the deed transfer. She's waiting on a response for that. Brimfield Parks Advisory Committee update. Our next meeting is tomorrow at 6:30. I would like to, after a few months of seeking applications, I'd like to dissolve the Parks Committee as it currently sits. We only received 2 applications, and we only had 2 members that were returning this year. So with 4 people, that's not much of a committee. So I would like to propose starting a volunteer program instead, having the remaining committee members stay on as volunteers. They're already background checked and everything. And having the 2 members who did apply also stay on as volunteers. I'm looking at what that would look like for next year. I would like to suggest a 20-hour a year commitment for programs and events, things like that. And we would do quarterly meetings instead of monthly meetings. That seemed to be an issue for people. And then, of course, we would have volunteer training and background checks.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. As our events get bigger, I need more boots on the ground, and I'd like to have a dedicated volunteer staff.
Yeah, I mean, because that's a big piece down there at that bar. They always have a
Yes.
couple of people that are just
Mhm.
passionate.
Yep.
And I think that's better. I mean, I think you come up with plenty of ideas.
Yes. I would keep the volunteer program small for now. I wouldn't think, we weren't even getting applications for the committee, so I don't know how many volunteers we would have, but I wouldn't say any more than maybe 10 at this point, because there are the costs of background checks and just managing, volunteer coordinator is a job in and of itself, so I wouldn't want that to get too big for the time being.
On those volunteers, Crystal Shanley works with the RSVP.
Mhm.
And any volunteers you get that are in that program for the county program, their volunteer hours would count toward her program. So she may have volunteers already that would be willing to come over and add more volunteers to their individual volunteering.
Okay, Crystal was actually one of the people that applied for the committee, and then my volunteer Janice was referred to me from Crystal, so I can definitely ask her for more
And just,
volunteers.
for future references, those fraternities and sororities,
Mhm.
they always have to get so many volunteer hours. And, one year I had Kappa Sigma, they came down and helped. So it's just something out there, because I think they're required every year to do so many hours.
Okay,
Just a thought.
okay. And then the item that I added to my agenda was the NOPEC grant generator for the community center. Brian has been researching getting prices for a propane generator, whole house generator for here. He has looked at the project. He believes it will not exceed $10,000. Currently, we have $7,077.89 left in the fund, so this would exceed that slightly. And the other issue, which I believe he has discussed with John, But the issue that we were looking at right now is there's 3 possible locations to hook it up to our existing propane, which I'll just I'll tell you and you tell me what you think. So the 3 locations would be, number 1, between these 2 sliding doors here. Now we would need to put a concrete pad underneath them as well.
So we'd be putting another propane tank there?
No, just the pad and the generator itself. So we would need to hook up to the tank back there. The other locations would be in the front here by the meter. And then the third location would be by the air conditioner in the back of the building. Ideally, I thought by the air conditioner would be the best place for it. However, that would come with an additional cost. We're looking at approximately, we don't have an official quote yet, but approximately $8,500 for having it here behind the building or in the front of the building, and it would be $9,500 if it was next to the air conditioner.
Well, I'd hate to have it back here. I mean, John wants patio, Craig wants a
Yes.
patio.
That was my immediate concern
You're
with them.
You're just incurring a significant cost in the wiring to put it over here.
Yes.
That's just wired $1,000 more,
Mhm.
approximately, just to run the little feet farther. So putting it closer is probably the
If
ideal.
we put it up front, where would we put it up?
Right in
front?
the mulch bed, right outside the door here.
How large is this generator?
Well, I would say, and when you think about this, I mean, it's small. It's a house generator.
But the first thing
It's a
you're gonna
generator.
see,
It's not what we're seeing at our station or anything.
and as soon as you walk in, you're gonna see a generator.
Right. You could
Almost-
fence it. You could landscape it.
We discussed putting like some boxwood in
Yeah.
front of it to disguise it.
Is it gonna get enough? Is it gonna breathe enough if we box it in too much?
You gotta watch
That was,
covering it too much.
I think that was, not answering yours specifically, but they said they could put it in those sites. So it must be acceptable at
Well,
those sites.
But with covering on it though, they might be putting this,
I don't-
anticipating that they're gonna get airflow
I
on
don't
the
think
front
I would
sides.
like box it in, just kind of fence it in, you know.
Okay.
You're
I mean,
not
that's just a
restricting
question we would need answered before we made a decision, because I wouldn't want to box that in.
You
Well, I
probably,
was
you probably
thinking,
need a 3-foot clearance. It's probably typical.
in putting generators here, if this is our hot spot, when we have a disaster come to Brimfield, you would need those generators to keep this viable for our seniors to come in who are on oxygen that can, think the worst first. But I would think that the generators would be absolutely necessary to continue this to be a base of operation in case we had
An emergency, especially
It's a
seeing what
big
happened
emergency.
in Niagara Falls.
Yep.
it's not just a nice to have.
So yeah, I think you need to firm everything up and get us a price and get this thing going.
Sure,
So just bring us, I would definitely say this is not an option out back to the patio.
I agree.
Get us 2 firm prices on the front and clarification on what we can do to conceal it as best as possible.
Are we trying to make a decision today?
No.
Because Brian can come upstairs and tell us exactly
Yeah.
what you need to know, probably answer your
I
question.
think she still has to just.
Yeah, he didn't.
I'd like firm prices too, like.
Yeah,
Like
he didn't
I
have the quote yet. That was just what
So
he
by next week. or
gleaned
next
from
meeting-
discussing it from the.
Next meeting, you can have it
Yes.
put together.
Yep.
I think it's a great idea.
Did you have any update from Dominion? I know we talked about
No,
also
they-
running gas back here.
They have never, Rochelle got a hold of them, they were supposed to contact us, they never did contact us.
Okay.
I know
So,
that would be, we really need to get that gas, but were you here with?
see, I don't,
We tried to
She
get on,
wasn't-
oh, that's
she was
good.
before.
Yeah, we went to all the neighbors, and if you get so many neighbors involved, it doesn't cost much, but we had to come back so far. Remember, and then at one point, we were talking about trying,
well, we were going, because they just put a new service at my shop, we were thinking about teeing it,
right,
but I got a feeling the service size they put for my shop wouldn't be adequate to do
To get enough pressure up here.
over here, yeah, and keep my shop open.
right. It would
Say an emergency, I gotta have my generator kick on
I mean,
too.
I know there's paperwork, we could reach out again and see if any of a lot of the neighbors did want gas.
I think the issue with this project also is because it's a NOPEC grant, we wanted to finish it up by this year. And after speaking with the representative, Brian believes they could finish the project by next year if we go with
Well, could they,
propane.
if you do get propane, I mean, can't you change the orifices and switch it to natural gas?
Yeah, you should be able to.
Yeah.
I say a lot of those projects, the furnaces and stuff too, you can do that transfer kit.
It would be sweet to get gas.
But for now, we have no pick dollars we need to use up.
Right,
And
I
this was
agree.
what we earmarked it for. So let's just get those 2 quotes and then we'll make a decision.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. New business, upcoming programs. We have the Tour of Lights Holiday Lighting Contest that we did last year. This is going to look a little bit different than the last year's contest. So we'll still be doing our Brimfield Township contest. However, the overall competition is now open to all townships in Portage County. So it is getting quite a bit bigger. I know Lori Kelsey sent out an invitation to all of the townships. I'm inviting them. I know we've heard back from a few so far. She said her deadline for that is the 29th, so we'll know exactly who's participating by then. Also, an additional component is we're doing some head-to-head competitions, and I have challenged Talmadge to go against us for our, we're calling it the second tier of competition. So our first tier would just be Brimfield Township residents, then second tier would be Talmadge versus Brimfield, third would be countywide. So it's becoming a very interesting project.
With that said, just for clarification, because I know a lot of houses in Brimfield like to participate, if they win at the Brimfield level but don't win against Talmadge, do they still go into the countywide thing, or is the county, or do they just Talmadge's only represent?
Yes, so the Talmadge versus Brimfield is, which I'm going to speak to Andrea over there and get clarification on this. That's just more of a friendly competition.
Okay.
That wouldn't have any bearing on the overall competition.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, we just like a little rivalry. On the 28th, so next week, we're having an owl night hike at Lions Park. We'll be walking on the trails looking for owls. Of course, on November 28th, we have our holiday walkthrough and drive-through event at the Kelso House. Decoration has already started at the Kelso House. We have hired a DJ for the event. He has worked with Stowe and Silver Lake and surrounding communities and done holiday events before, so he already knows what he's doing, so that's great. And then I'm in the process of contacting businesses and local organizations for donations and volunteers to hand out goodies and things like that for the event. And of course, I'm inviting everybody in this room to also volunteer and participate. So next, I would like to just go over the dates and times for our 2022 events. I'm in the process of contacting food trucks and bands and things like that for next year. I'm trying to get ahead of things as I will be out for a few months early next year. So I just wanted to confirm. So Touch a Truck, we will keep that on Saturday, June 18th. From 11 to 2. I know the only thing, I don't think it'll affect anything, but that is the day before Juneteenth.
It's not the Juneteenth holiday, so we want to keep it on that weekend because it's geared towards fathers for Father's Day, something to do with their kids.
Okay.
So I don't want to change that.
So since the holiday is on a Sunday, we would observe it Monday, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so that shouldn't affect anything. Summer concerts, Mike, that's probably something you and I should discuss, but I was thinking of having 2 concerts a month, June through August, if that sounds feasible. We would just need to discuss dates.
It does. I mean, with all the ones we play, it just seems a lot. The ones that are really successful are like 2 a month, but some of them actually go into September.
Okay,
So that might be something you want to, and I wouldn't do it any earlier than June because you don't want to wash it out.
right.
Could I make a recommendation on the concert thing then too? Try to pick those dates sooner than later.
Right.
Yes,
Because I would like to see us book at least a single food truck at each one.
sure.
Yeah.
I've already,
I've already had some guys contact me
yes,
about it. So, and that's why we need to sit down and really talk. And the thing is, the key thing is those cards.
yes,
But you need, like the most successful one I see, is Sebring and Akron. I mean, they have those cards with all the acts listed. And next to them, they have the genre of music. And, you just got to keep putting them out there. I mean, we've had great.
You know what you could do? That's just an idea too. If you're going to run this summer concert series June through September instead, you could have the finale with all the big bands at Brimfest that ends the concert series.
Wow, that's good.
So that would be the series, run it through then. concert finale series.
Yeah,
at
so,
Brimfest.
yeah, just so we can advertise everything the whole way.
And then you're advertising Brimfest the entire year that way.
Okay, so
Do
maybe we can have one concert in September and then have the next concert be Brimfest.
Yep, and that'll be, we'll call that the finale, and, because we'll have lots of bands.
And then we need to get together and talk about the bands for Brimfest, because you
Yes.
said you wanted a country band, and I got someone, I think, pretty good that'll do it.
Okay,
I went to Mark Nutter,
Mhm.
his concert. It was sold out at Tangiers, and it's a great group, and
Yeah, Mark Nutter, he puts on a good show. I've been to one of his shows before, 10 years.
yeah, he's amazing. Now I mean, we're not gonna advertise, but there's he has a 3 or 4 piece band that's gonna do all country. And that one, we know we would get some mileage if we announced that he would be playing.
And that's why I think it's what we need, a big name for the finale, and just other good acts too.
Yep.
We'll build up to it.
Yeah, so let's, maybe next week if you and I can sit down and just talk, and I'll show you what I got so far. And, yeah, but it's great. I mean, I think music brings people into the parks. And, you know, having a food truck is just so big. I mean, because the one at Sebring, it's just his mom, it's a grandmother and her daughter. And they have a line of people standing there waiting, wanting food. Because, you know, I told you they start at 6 o'clock, 6 to 7:30. And, you know, we just need
Dinner
people.
and music.
Yeah, this is good.
I'm gonna do a little research too and see when other communities have their concerts in the park. I know Talmadge does, Kent does, so to make sure that we don't have, interfere with theirs.
Yeah, I just think even if they are on the same days, you pull so many people. Plus ours will be better.
The goal though is we need to have all these dates set by January 1, so there's an entire calendar.
Yeah, so we gotta get going.
Yep. Brimfest, I know we already discussed the dates, which would be Friday, September 16th and Saturday, September 17th. I wanted to discuss the times. These were the times that we had this year. We had 4 to 9 p.m. on Friday and 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. on Saturday. That was including the pancake breakfast.
I think that's good.
I wouldn't change it. I'd keep it just like that.
Okay, perfect.
Just one thing to suggest is, what if, as you're trying to negotiate getting a carnival act, what if they want to open up on Thursday, which a lot of them like the third day? Do we just let them open up for?
The problem with that is the impact on the roads and the school getting kids for drop off. It creates a havoc on 43
Right.
potentially.
Yes.
And I would say, speaking of the carnival rides, though, we might want to push Friday to 10 p.m. if we're going to have lights, because kids will play on those rides till 10 p.m.
Cassie, do you want to speak on the carnival rides?
I had that later in my report, but I can talk about that now. So as I said, I'm trying to get all my ducks in a row early. I have been contacting carnival rides. I've probably contacted 7 or 8 of them now. Either I don't get a response, I get a response and say that they're booked. I know somebody said that's fair season for a lot of places. They're already, they have bigger fish to fry. And other places say that our event is too short. They want a week-long festival. So I can skip ahead a little bit to my Brimfest updates if you'd like.
Sure.
So under that, I have been speaking to the Ohio Fair Managers Association. I contacted someone there who just happens to live in Stowe. And they were letting me know that a lot of ride companies have either gone out of business or are only doing large events. And the ones that do the smaller events are requiring a minimum just because their business is hurting so much. So I feel like I'm still trying, but I'm not having a lot of success with the ride companies at this point.
Well, keep trying, and then we'll come up with the alternative plan.
I was just going to say, so we will continue to keep trying, but at some point we'll have to have game plan 2.
Yeah.
Of what that may be. And is that, I'm just throwing it out there, is that double the jumpies? I don't know.
Yeah.
But we will. Sounds like we haven't had any bites yet.
Yes, there's other alternatives as well. Don't want to show all my cards, but I will. I contacted an axe throwing trailer. I contacted a video game trailer. There's rock wall climbing. There's other smaller attractions that we could still have. It's just those really big carnival rides that are tough to get.
But if we did something like axe throwing, rock climbing. And the video game trailer was one of the ideas I had in my head that would still appease the older kids, right?
So
That-
number one is carnival rides.
Yeah,
Yes.
but
But
then
at
number
some
two
point-
is this, that we have to make that decision.
We're hoping that just jump in there, we're hoping that the Affairs Association can guide us, because that's what they do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Put us in contact with some right people.
Yeah, I would like to join them. Membership's like $100. I'd like to join them starting next year. And I'm going to meet with, I forget his name off the top of my head, but his daughter actually runs the Summit County Fairgrounds, which is like a mile from my house. And he agreed they're working on a project right now, but once things calm down, him and I and his daughter are going to meet up and discuss. So they seem like a really good place to get some information.
You know, I mean, the carnivals, I mean, they have their goods and their bads. They have lots of lights. They draw people. But I mean, if you have good little things, I mean, maybe run the train a couple times. God, I wonder if you could put like a haunted house together. I mean, there's things we could do.
Yeah, there's definitely
We
options.
just gotta keep them occupied.
Yes.
And I mean, you know, when we do have carnival rides, then we hear from parents about how expensive it is. And the carnival rides take up all their space and they
Yeah.
make all the money.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, so maybe it's time we reinvent it.
Mhm.
So
I think we'll exhaust all options, and then
Yes.
we'll come back with other options if that doesn't work.
Okay.
I mean, kids would probably love doing rock climbing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's stuff for them to do.
Yeah, as long as there's other attractions than just bounce houses, I'm happy, right?
Sure.
I think that's
Me
good.
too. I'm good.
We just need to find attractions that will entertain we'll call it the 12 to 18-year-old group.
Yeah, I wish you could get a petting zoo or something, you know, just stuff for people to see.
Okay.
Well, but I think interactive is gonna be the piece. Like, we can get a video game trailer and a VR trailer out here, virtual reality trailer, that's gonna attract a lot of people.
And you and
I'll
me.
spend a lot of time there.
And you and me will be in there
Why
too.
not? Excellent at the trustees.
Cassie, a few years back, the Carney group brought their own deer, and they had it out
They
back.
got it.
Oh,
Yeah, they got the deer drunk,
nice. I was
and
gonna say, I know
it was
someone.
interesting.
I know someone who has miniature horses, so
Yeah.
we have options.
Well, we may have to look at those options,
You know,
but
I
we'll
mean,
exhaust everything first.
well, I think you're close to exhausting, so I mean, I think you should probably.
Well, I've tasked Cassie with every 2 weeks, we're calling.
Yep.
You're in the sun, Cassie.
I know I am. I'm looking down.
You can move over here.
Can I know you got more. I would like to continue to grill hot dogs for the event out here. I think it's
Yeah.
great PR. We'll just get a grill and we'll provide more hot dogs next time.
Oh, sure.
So I think that works for us.
Okay.
Unless you really want to task Cassie with getting more food trucks.
No, for the Harvest Festival?
Yeah.
No, I want that. We want to try to find donations and make things as free as possible for our community. There's families that just don't have the money to pay for a $10 meal for each kid at the food truck, right? So if we're able to offer these hot dogs and cider, you know, it's something where the parents don't feel like they're in a bad situation where they don't want to bring their kids because they don't want to be asked about it, or they continue to have to tell the kids no. I think it just makes it better for the community.
I think we were all surprised. I thought maybe like 75 people.
Me too.
And you were saying 400 to 500. Well,
Yeah.
we'll be prepared for next time.
Yeah, it was unprecedented.
And we could also store them in the freezer at the fire station, bring the box down. If more people come, then we'll just start shuttling them.
Yeah, but I will provide someone to do that.
Okay.
Just another food trucks, that's a lot of work.
Okay,
So
And I want to make sure we have free events.
sure. All right, let me jump back into event dates then. I would like to make a suggestion for the Fall Harvest Festival, to move it to, generally we have it the third Saturday. I would like to move it to the fourth Saturday, which would be 10/22 next year, just to give me a little bit more time between Brimfest and the Fall Harvest Festival. It was a little bit of a scramble to end one and then immediately start working on the other one.
I don't think you need a motion for that, yeah?
I don't think so.
No, that's fine. We'll just make it. It's 10/22.
that
Okay.
pushes you more toward trick or treat anyways.
Yes, that was the other thing too. I know Kirsten brought her sons and said they didn't even have a Halloween costume. They had to go out that day and get one. So that might be a little bit better for people.
Okay.
And then this is just the date that it has always been, but the holiday event will once again be the Sunday after Thanksgiving, which would be November 27th from 5 to 7 p.m.
Cassie, we're gonna have to reach out to them, and we discussed lighting the tree in the park and the gazebo. I don't, if they're gonna bulldoze next week, I'm not even gonna have electric in there. So
Okay.
we'll need to focus everything over.
Will we have enough electric to at least do the tree at the town center?
Well, I guess I can ask, but I'm anticipating that.
Can we
that's
ask
all
first? Because I would hate to give
shut
up the
down.
tree center light. The gazebo is a nice to have. The tree is almost like a mandatory.
Yeah, they're disconnecting everything when I talk to them.
Right.
I mean,
Okay.
Right.
it's gonna be big.
Could we have battery operated lights? Is that?
Well,
I don't think
No.
you need some big batteries.
Yeah.
no.
Okay.
You gotta rent a generator that
I'll
somebody
get back
will
to you
steal.
then, before you do that.
Okay, let me know.
Oh, they're
They're
cutting
them
them.
electric lines.
Yeah, they're
They're
I
cutting
mean,
them
that
now.
park's gonna be
That's
dark.
Okay.
All right, and then my Brimfest 2022 updates, we already dipped into this, but I've been speaking with House of LaRose about getting alcohol, alcohol for the event. They said that they can do that. They would like to meet with us. They said they would most likely bring draft trailers where we would get just cases of alcohol pre-ordered. They recommend
Cases or kegs?
cases. They said cases are better because whatever you don't open, you can return. So we would pay, I think they gave me some rough prices, but of course with everything right now, they can't guarantee
Well,
those would be the
just a
prices.
thought. I mean, what you could do and what Sandy does at the German American Club, if they don't use all the beer, then they just use it back at their, over the years, but you could partner with a local business
Mhm.
and just, sell them the partial keg or whatever,
Yeah,
as long as you're using, like Bud Light or a common beer.
yes,
The only thing with bottles and stuff, then you got bottles and cans everywhere.
yeah.
So, plus draft beer just seems to be better at those kind of events.
Yeah, I think it's more cost effective too.
It is.
Well,
Yeah, plus then
we're
you
all
got-
talking here about having beer at our Brimfest and our different things. And I really, over the years, have been very vocally against it. I want to keep Brimfield a family type of a community. And we do have enough bars in town, in grocery stores and everywhere. If you want alcohol, you can go get it. And I guess I would still, I'm still in the, I really don't want alcohol served at our events here. But that's just my opinion, and I just want everybody to know what it is.
Sue, if I could jump in there on the same page, I kind of agree with you. And just so the public can hear, it would be very localized and it would not exit a certain area.
Yeah, the view is a
Yes,
very
it
small
would
beer
not-
garden like you see at other community festivals.
It would not be all over the festival. It would be in a small area, and that would be, if you guys decide to do it, that's
Yeah,
where it
and you
would have
couldn't
to
walk
be.
around with it. You'd have to stay in
Correct.
the beer garden
Correct.
location.
You
'Cause
cannot.
there's a big part of the population that enjoy alcohol responsibly.
That's if we went that route.
Right.
Yeah.
There would be restrictions.
No, there'd have to be.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, okay, good. Who are you talking to at the House of Rose?
Well, I was talking to my husband's friend, but
Okay,
I'm
good.
trying to remember what, I
Good,
think
well,
the
they-
marketing
Yeah,
manager.
they're good. They'll help you.
Yep.
I don't know if Gabe still does it.
No, I'm
But-
trying, I want to say Paul. I think it was Paul who I talked to.
Okay, good. Yeah, just get on that quick.
Yes.
I mean, are you thinking about us as the township doing it or having a?
I thought we had discussed if we were going to do it, we were going to have the Council House
Yes.
run it to take the
Yeah.
per se liability or just the licensure
Right,
piece
that's
as a
good.
nonprofit.
That's better.
Yep. Yeah, they would like confirmation by February or March for
I
that.
know they book up quick.
Yep. Okay.
So you remember that one Brimfest we did where we had Helen Perry's husband or boyfriend running it? No one bought any beer, but he sure drank enough. We had to walk him to the car. It's the backseat of the car to take him home. I just saw him waving as Helen Perry was so pissed off and drove him home. So.
And then I already touched on these other items. The Ohio Fair Managers Association, I would like to join next year. They also have a convention every year in January where they have different ride vendors, food vendors, entertainment, like everything you can imagine. They have a 3-day event where you can go and meet all of these people and get their cards and exchange information. So I think that in and of itself would be worth the membership. Ride vendors, we already discussed. Food vendors, that's why I was confirming dates and everything, because I'm already reaching out to them. I've gotten probably responses from 7 or 8 food vendors already. I'm just, I'm amending our contract to include the deposit that we discussed last time and a few other things. But as soon as I have that finalized, I'll get that out to them.
Good.
Have they been receptive to the deposit piece and the return of the deposit?
Yes, yeah, that seems to be pretty standard, so,
Just tell everyone how successful it was.
yes.
Lie a little bit, no, not lie, just stretch the numbers. It was very successful.
Well, and we re-advertise as Brimfest, and that's just gonna kick the numbers up.
Sure.
So,
Okay, well, that's all you got?
Yep, that was
Okay,
my
I want
report.
the bus rodeo. I was interviewed by a Canadian magazine. There's a lot of people that buy vintage buses and stuff, so, and they asked me if we could find a spot for a bus rodeo. They bring 30 to 40 buses from across the country, and then they advertise it all over, and you get all these people that come into town.
so what does the bus rodeo do?
They park their buses and you walk around and look at them,
Okay, so it's like a car show.
like a car show.
Okay.
I mean, I like buses, not that much, but apparently there's a big crowd. And here's the bus they drove down to interview me on.
Oh, huge.
It's a 1947 bus.
Cassie, that would be a good thing for the Visitors Bureau, bringing in
That's true.
old people for
Well,
that.
the big
Maybe
thing
you
is,
check with Diane on
they asked
that.
if they could park them on my farm, and I said no. So, but then I thought, we got all this room here.
True.
I mean, it would be a great,
Dave's eyes.
30 buses.
You're gonna
maybe
fit
40.
4.
You'd have to put them all. I mean,
They're all self-sustaining. They all have their own.
No, but I mean, you'd have to put them in an area that's a soccer field, baseball.
Yeah,
Well, or just, I don't know. It's just, I hate to lose something like this because it could bring a lot of people. It's no cost to us.
do
So
you
it's something to think
know
about.
what date they were looking at?
No, I said I'd bring it up at the meeting and see if anyone was receptive or, I mean, look at the detail on the back of those buses.
Oh, my.
They're crazy.
And would this be like more like a car show or more like a touch a truck? Like would kids be able to look at them and
They
touch
show you
them?
the insides of the buses and it's just, I mean, it's crazy what people follow anymore, but when they do these bus rodeos, you get these people coming from all across the country to see all these buses together.
Could we incorporate it into touch a truck? That's where I was going with that.
There'd be, you had 30 buses. Wow.
I think it might get a little crowded.
Yeah.
But it's a possibility.
Just something I want you to think about. I'm gonna talk to them and,
I'll get a bus from the school and jump it.
no, it's not school buses. These are vintage buses.
So I was thinking if we
Hopefully
did the
not the
touch a
Walmart
truck,
parking.
then if they didn't mind
So I
parking
was
on the
thinking it's the
grass, we
same
could
thing.
have them all in the grass as a separate
Then they can drive.
part, but
Yeah, just something. They did scold me about my one bus I have out in the patio. They said, do you realize that there's probably no more than 2 of those left? And you're out here painting it lime green and yellow. They said that thing should be in a garage for storage. So I'm probably gonna move it from the restaurant. I felt bad. So, okay, that's all I got for you.
All right. Anything else for Parks and Rec? All right, anything from Cemetery?
Just an FYI, Kevin is kind of spearheading November for the columbarium. So I'm waiting.
Okay.
For more information.
Any questions for Cemetery? All right, no updates from the fiscal office. Is there any executive sessions that were not on the agenda that we need to know about? All right, anything for the good of the order?
Yes,
Oh, for
I'm
the order.
excited about this.
Okay.
In Randolph is the all-inclusive playground. And I'm inviting all of you for October the 30th at 1:00. I understand that the Waterloo High School Band is going to be there to play. And it's a big send-off and a ribbon cutting ceremony. So if you want to see a $900,000 playground, come on out and take a look.
$900,000.
Yes.
I mean, can regular kids play on it or do you have to be handicapped?
That's all inclusive. That way the whole family, it's not just the children that are handicapped in any way, but it's the whole family that can
Well, that's good.
come. That's the whole purpose. They have received 3 national awards. One of them is for design, but this would be the largest playground of its all-inclusive in Ohio.
Where is it located?
Randolph, where the old school was and it was torn down, 44. Same side as the fairground.
Okay.
Pretty much close across from East First Driveway.
East Manufacturing.
All right. Anything else? All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
All right, motion adjourned at 10:06. Roll call. Mike,
Yes.
Sue,
yes.
Nick, yes. Motion adjourned, meeting adjourned, 10:06.